So, good afternoon to all of you students. Today, I am going to discuss the final part of your air pollution, and one more protocol, one more act has been not been mentioned. I have just overviewed. I have discussed in the first video lecture, that is the Kyoto Protocol. So let's get started now. And after Kyoto Protocol, I will try to finish off the control and measures of air pollution. Okay. So about the Kyoto Protocol, it has been mentioned here that Kyoto Protocol was adopted on 11th December 1997. Okay, it is a different type of protocol, and owing to a complex ratification process, it entered into the force on 16th February 2005. So it's a very complicated ratification method of having this protocol. Ratification, I have said, ratification means to make an agreement officially acceptable by voting for it or by signing for it. That means according to the rules and regulations of this protocol, we have to ratify, we have to make an agreement, right? By accepting, by voting for it, or by signing that I am agreed to follow these rules. And what was the rules mainly mentioned in the Kyoto Protocol is your greenhouse gas. So the greenhouse gas is has to be controlled, and Kyoto Protocol, a main purpose of Kyoto Protocol is to control the emission of the greenhouse gases. Now greenhouse gases, normally we know they are oxides of carbon or carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, water vapor, then your methane, right? There are different sources of greenhouse gas, and most of these greenhouse gas emit from the combustion of fossil fuels, right? And most of the developing countries are habituated to use these fossil fuels because they can be easily available to the market and can be utilized for their production of various things, various products. So it is a little bit of complex stratification because in the Kyoto Protocol, their main aim is to control the emission of greenhouse gas. And if you see, almost all over the world, greenhouse gas is emitted somehow in a certain percentage by many countries. If you look at India also hugely they release greenhouse gases for their own benefit, actually for making their own production. And that's why most of the countries are avoiding to agree this protocol, because how it is possible that if they don't use fossil fuels, how in what source of energy they will use to make their certain products? That is not possible, right? Because if you see, okay, there are some alternate source of energy as well, like there are solar energy, there are water energy, the hydroelectric project from which we can generate electricity in a limited way, not too much. Okay, every country does not have a Hoover dam so much huge that they can generate electricity from it. Okay, they are not so much developed, so at a certain limit we can generate electricity, at a certain limit we can generate power by using alternative source of energy. Most of the energy comes from burning of the fossil fuels, and that's why this protocol is little bit complicated. Many countries are complexly ratifying this protocol. Some are avoiding to sign in this protocol, okay, like China, like USA, okay, even India also. So I have discussed a little bit about this protocol. Let us see. Currently there are 192 parties to the Kyoto Protocol. So there about now 192 parties are there who have agreed, who have ratified, that they have agreed to vote for this protocol. Next, it is saying that in short, Kyoto Protocol operationalizes the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change by committing industrialized countries and economies in transition to limit and reduce the use of greenhouse gases emission in accordance with agreed individual targets. That means they are not saying that to stop use the greenhouse gas, to stop releasing the greenhouse gas, but they have make a time bound, they have make a time frame for each and every country, that you will take some time, and within that time you have to use alternate source of energy by your scientific approach, by funding also we can provide you alternate source of energy, and slowly within that time frame we have to stop releasing the greenhouse gases, right? And this protocol actually is based on what? This protocol is based on United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change. A protocol, this protocol actually based on the United Nation Framework Convention on Climate Change, যেটা শর্ট ফর্মে, in short form we can write UNFCCC, United Nation Framework Convention on Climate Change. The meeting that was done in that UNFCCC, then they have get some idea and they have introduced the Kyoto Protocol. Okay, and I have said that their main aim is to commit the industrialized countries and economies in transition to limit and reduce the greenhouse gases emission in accordance with agreed individual target. That means within a particular time frame we have to reduce the use of greenhouse gas. Now this time frame is varied across the different countries. If it is a developing country, the time frame will be large because they have not scientifically approached too much high. Like for example, if I say Pakistan, if I say all the Southeast Asian countries like India, Bangladesh, they will given a certain time period, a large time period, that suppose within 2050 you have to reduce the use of greenhouse gas, and we have to annually we have to report also, just like the Montreal Protocol, annually we report that how much we have reduced ozone depleting substance, ODS. Similarly here also annually we have to report, each and every country have to report that how much we have reduced the emission of greenhouse gas. The convention itself only asks those countries to adopt policies and measures on mitigation and to report periodically. Okay, so I have said, so what I have said I am saying that the convention, that according to this protocol, according to the UNFCCC, it agreed those country who will adopt the policy, who will adopt the control measures of this protocol and measures on mitigation to report periodically. It will also measure mitigation. Mitigation means the act of reducing here the greenhouse gas, how you will act to reduce the greenhouse gas emission, that is called mitigation. Kyoto Protocol is based on principles and provisions of the convention, that is UNFCCC. According to the UNFCCC, that is United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, according to that UNFCCC, Kyoto Protocol is following that principles and follow its annexed based structure. Annex, you have learned in your history in your junior classes. Annex means to take control by the other here organization. Okay, it only binds developed countries and place a heavier burden on them under the principle of common but differentiated responsibility and respective capabilities. That means most of the case this protocol is causing a huge burden, means chap, Okay, it cause a huge burden on developed countries. Developed countries में ज़्यादा इसे burden सोच रहा है, because developed countries तो already developed है, they have more scientific inventions, advancements, so they have to follow the law, otherwise they will be annexed by their organization. That's why most of the countries have does not ratified this protocol. Even USA also withdrawn from this protocol, because it recognizes that largely responsible for current high levels of greenhouse gas emission in the atmosphere. Most of the case, the developed countries are mainly responsible for high emission of greenhouse gas. If you look, all the developed countries, if you look, most of the global greenhouse gas emission, more percentage is occurring on those developed countries. Like, don't say Japan is more advanced country nowadays. They try to use alternate source of energy, that's why technology they are more advanced. But if I say China, well, China is a developed country now. Okay, still they are emitting the greenhouse gases, so it will be a huge burden if China become a signatory or a ratified member of this Kyoto Protocol. They have to pay that burden. Okay, so there are many things about this Kyoto Protocol. Okay, like you can see, there are, just like I have said, in legislation, in particular act, when we are writing, there are some articles, there are some sections, there are some subsections. So here they have used the term annex. Okay, annex A, annex B. So these are the all chapters. Okay, all the other things that has been mentioned in the protocol. So in annex B chapter, the Kyoto Protocol set of binding emission reduction target for 37 industrialized countries and economies in transition, the European Union. So in annex B of the Kyoto Protocol, the chapter contain, in annex B part, it has been mentioned that about 37 countries, industrialized countries of European Union, they have to follow the protocol because they are emitting huge amount of greenhouse gas. Okay, they have set binding emission reduction target. That means they have limit the target. That means up to this much you can release, not more than that. Up to this much we have to release the greenhouse gas, not more than that. Overall, these targets add up to an average of 5% emission reduction compared to 1990 levels over the 5-year period, that is from 2008 to 2012, which is the first commitment period. Now it has been mentioned that it has been mentioned in simple words, if I say what has been written here, that in 1990s they have said that within a 5-year term you can reduce 5% of the greenhouse gas, um, and now we have to reduce same thing, same percentage, more percentage we have to reduce the greenhouse gas emission within the year 2008 to 2012. Okay, so again I repeat, overall these targets add up to an average of 5% emission reduction compared to the 1990s level over the 5-year period, that is the first commitment period. So according to the 5-year term, they have said you can reduce up to 5%, that will be better. But now more percentage is being impacted, more percentage has been said that you have to reduce more, slowly you have to reduce more greenhouse gas emission. Now in Doha is the name of a place in Qatar, on 8 December 2012, the Doha Amendment of the Kyoto Protocol was adopted for the second commitment period starting from 2013 and last up to 2020. So the first commitment period was from 2008 to 2020. And before that, in 1990s, they have said that up to 2008 only 5% you can reduce. It will be better to reduce greenhouse gas emission. But in the first commitment period, that is between 2008 and 2050, 2000 to 2012, I think. Let us see. Yes, 2008 to 2012, they have said that within this 5 year you have to reduce 5%. In the previous, there was from 1990s to up to 2007, only 5% can be reduced. But now at a 5 year term, you have to reduce 5%, means per year 1% reduction of the greenhouse gas has to be done, as stated by the Kyoto Protocol. Now the second amendment or some modification, amendment, some modifications made in the act, some modification made in this legislation, in and this amendment was done in Doha in Qatar on 8 December 2012. The second amendment or the second commitment period was done starting from 2013 and last up to 2020. So this is the second commitment period. Now it is going 2022, that means the third commitment period is going to be done by the Kyoto Protocol. As of 28 October 2020, 147 parties deposited their instrument of acceptance. Therefore, a threshold of 144 instruments acceptance for entry into force of Doha amendment was achieved. So about 147 parties, they have deposited their instrument of acceptance. That means they have accepted that we will reduce 5%, just like the first commitment from 2008 to 2012. We will, in the second commitment period, we will reduce as stated in the second commitment, as stated in the Doha in Qatar, the convention that has been done in this Kyoto Protocol. Okay, so several things has been mentioned here. I am right, I am saying only the important ones here. Now let us try to discuss about the India. Well, I'm not seeing India here. Let us see. If I see the about India, then it will be good. Okay, it has not been given in these notes. So it's not required actually, not too much depth it will be given, but they will say that second commitment period from start from where, what, from which period. Okay, they will state you that when commencement was done. Okay, the first commitment was done from 2008 to 2012, and they have stated that within this time frame you have to reduce 5% emission of the greenhouse gas. Then comes the second commitment, which was done in which was actually observed, which has been done in Doha in Qatar. They have make an agreement that from 2013 to 2020 second commitment period will be carried out, and their rules and regulation has been mentioned in that protocol in the second commitment period for the developed countries and also for the developing countries. Then I have said that about 147 parties have deposited their instrument, right? And it has been said here that new commitments for the Annex 1 parties to the Kyoto Protocol who agreed to take on commitments in the second commitment period from 1st January 2013 to 31 December 2020. So the Annex 1 parties, I have said now that there is period of sections and chapters and subsections, what they are mentioned. So in Annex 1, the parties has the name of the countries, the name of the parties which has been mentioned there, they are agreed to carry out their second commitment. Okay, from 1st January 2013 to 31st December 2020. Then a revised list of greenhouse gas reported by the parties in the second commitment period. So within the second commitment period, that means within 31st December 2020, they have to report their what level of emissions of greenhouse gas has been reduced and by how much. And amendments to several articles of the Kyoto Protocol, which specifically referenced issues pertaining to the first commitment period. So, according to the first commitment period, they will follow the first commitment, what has been stated in the protocol. In the second commitment, they can also follow the rules that has been mentioned in the second commitment period, and which needs to be updated for the second commitment period. Now further after 2020, now we are going for 2022, then when third commitment period will be done, you will see in the newspaper or in the news that third commitment period of the Kyoto Protocol has been set up. Then they will make some rules and regulations for the time bound frame, which parties can able to follow this protocol or not, third commitment period or not, and that has to be mentioned. Now on 21st December 2012, amendment was circulated by the Secretary General of United Nations, acting in his capacity as depository to all parties to the Kyoto Protocol in accordance with the Article 20 and Article 21 of the protocol. So the on 21st December 2012, certain modifications, certain amendment, sorry, not amendment, certain yes, amendment, certain amendment was done, certain change has been done for commencing the second commitment period, and it was through the help of Secretary General of United Nations, and they have mentioned to all the parties of the Kyoto Protocol in accordance with the Article 20 and Article 21 of the Kyoto Protocol. Now the main thing is this, that during the first commitment period there was 37 industrialized countries and economies in transition and European community committed to reduce greenhouse gas emission of 5% against 1990 levels. So what they have emitted greenhouse gas during 1990s, okay, you have to reduce 5% of the greenhouse gas within 2012. This is the first commitment that I have said. During the second commitment period, parties committed to reduce greenhouse gas emission by at least 18% below 1990s level in the 8-year period from 2030 to 2020. So this is the thing that has been that has not been mentioned in previous notes. In second commitment period, what they have said, in second commitment period they have said that what greenhouse gas you have emitted during 1990s, you have to reduce the greenhouse gas emission at least 18%, 18. And what is the time frame? From 2030 to 2020. So it is a 8-year period, long duration, not a 5-year period. So 18%. So in the first commitment period, that is from 2008 to 2012, they have said only 5% of the greenhouse gas has to be at least 5% of the greenhouse gas has to be reduced comparing to the 1990s level. That means what type of greenhouse gas they have emitted in 1990s, according to that 5% you have to reduce it now. In the second commitment period they have said they have to reduce 18% comparing to the 1990s emission level of greenhouse gas. However, the composition of the parties in the second commitment period is different from the first period. Now there are some modifications, some change has been done which has not been mentioned here because it is of some rules are there, some ethical, some socio-economic laws are there, which I will not say here because we are not doing laws. We are actually dealing with environmental management and environmental science only. So this is the thing. So just remember that in the first commitment period, in the first I'm writing C only. In first commitment period, they have said to reduce 5% of the greenhouse gas following 1990s greenhouse gas emission. In the second commitment period, that is from 2013 to 2020, they have said they have to reduce 18% of the global greenhouse gas with respect to the 1990s greenhouse gas emission. What they have emitted in 1990s, respect to that 18% has to be reduced. Okay. Now India falls under which annex countries? I have not mentioned here. So this was actually was about the Kyoto Protocol. Now let us I have finished the Kyoto Protocol. Now let us see how to control the air pollution. Okay. So let us see about how to control the air pollution. Uh, First, it is saying to control the air pollution, we have to use such fuel which should be low in sulfur. Okay, so low sulfur based fuel. Why? Because sulfur based fuel, due to incomplete combustion, due to incomplete burning, it will release sulfur, and elemental sulfur will not be released. It will be released in the form of compound like sulfur dioxide, sulfur trioxide. Okay, and that sulfur will eventually by various steps will lead to fall as acid rain. Reduction in emissions, somehow we have to reduce the emission of these pollutants. Okay, that's why such type of protocols and laws has been made. Zoning of industries away from the human settlements, this is very important. We have to zonify the industry, that this is an industrial zone, here human settlement will not be allowed. But still there are some areas where human settlements is being done beside industries. Actually industries occur beside the human settlements. Okay, like I can mark them down. You can mark them down. If you go around Durgapur, if you go to Sagarbhanga, you know, if you go to Sagarbhanga, then go to the zonal center, and there you can see that many industries has been settled in recent years. Well, there was only one industry like Graphite India Limited, but nowadays many sponge iron industries like your sham steel, then your different type of industries, sponge iron industries has been settled, and this should not be done. Industry zone should be away from the human settlement. Okay, otherwise those pollutants will inhaled by the human beings and it will cause various problems, not only human beings but other living organisms who are settling, because if human is settling then the other organisms are also settling, like dogs, cats, not only dogs and cats but all the flora and fauna. Okay, even the crops that are being cultivated will be done beside the industries, so this has to be prevented. Destroying pollutants by thermal or catalytic combustion, so the different methods can be done to destroy the pollutants by using excessive heat, that is thermal, or catalytic combustion. Catalytic means using a catalyst, using some such substance which speed up the reaction, which will break up the particles, which will break up the compounds of the pollutants. Changing the pollutants into less toxic form to minimize their poisonous efficiency, we can use such substance to reduce their toxicity, to reduce the pollutants its toxicity. Precipitation of pollutants so that it does not interact with the other gases in the atmosphere. Yes, this is very good, that if we can precipitate that pollutants that is coming out from the chimneys, and somehow we use such substance that it becomes heavy to make compound and settle down, then it will not able to interact with the other gases in the atmosphere, and this type of global such consequences like global warming, your better to say ozone depletion, acid rain will not form. Then this is in the junior classes you have seen using of alternate source of energy like solar energy, wind energy, then water energy we can use for in by not using this fossil fuel energy, we can use this alternate source of energy, because this alternate source of energy are renewable, they can be used again and again, and they will not cause any pollution, right? If you compare with the fossil fuel energy. Then again it is saying more, smokestacks of thermal power plants, industries release particulate matter and gaseous air pollutants together with some harmless gases like nitrogen and oxygen. So in thermal power plants where they use to make power generation by the help of excessive heat, now the heat that they use fossily, they use either they use fossil energy or they you can use radioactive substances. Okay, so the smoke that comes out from the thermal power plants, it consists of poisonous gases as well as some non poisonous gases as well, like nitrogen and oxygen. These pollutants must be separated or filtered out before releasing the harmless gas into the atmosphere. So these pollutants, before releasing into the atmosphere, it has to be trapped. The harmful gases has to be trapped out. And how you can trap? There is an instrument known as electrostatic precipitator. Electrostatic precipitator works on the basis of electrostaticity, on the basis of ion charge. So an electrostatic precipitator is a device that removes the particle from a gas stream by using electrical energy to charge the particles either positively or negatively. So this electrostatic precipitator, what they do, they with the help of electricity, they charge off the particles and make them either positive charge or negative charge. And you know, positive charge will try to combine with the negative charge and the particles become heavy and they will precipitate, they will fall down. So the charged particles are then attracted to collector plates carrying the opposite charge. So after charging the particles, side of the electrostatic precipitator there is a plate, and that plate is oppositely charged. Now obviously the charged particles, when they become suppose positive charge, they will try to attract with the negative charge of the collector plates. So they will attract to the collector plates who were negative charge. And on the other hand, those particles which are negatively charged, they will try to attract with those collector plates which are positively charged. And in this way, and in this way these collected plates can be removed from the collector plates as dry material, or they may be washed away from the plates with water. So either you can with the help of drying, with the help of dry material, we can remove away these charged particles, or by the help of water, okay, we can remove away the particles, the charged particles from the plates, and again we can use them. So it's a very good thing, it's a very better way to minimize the emission of the poisonous gases, because by making them charged with the help of electric current, and that charged particle will attract with the collector plates of opposite charge, and then they are either washed away or dried away, is a very good way of minimizing the air pollution. Other devices that are commonly used in monitoring air pollution is your fabric filters, flue gas desulfurization, and selective catalytic reduction. Flue gas desulfurization means, flue gas means the gas which comes out from the flue, from the chimney, is called flue gas. So within the flue gas, sulfur or sulfur related compounds are in the same way like electrostatic precipitator, they are used to charged, and they are used to precipitate with the collector plates which are of opposite charge. Same thing, different names, but the process is same. Then comes your scrubbers. Well, you know what does scrubber mean. I think you know what the scrubber means. Scrubbers are also installed to remove the sulfur dioxide from the power plant flue gas. The gas which emit out, the gas which is released through the help of pipe called as flue gas. From that flue gas, sulfur related compounds has to be removed out, otherwise that sulfur compounds can interact in the atmosphere with the other gases to form acid rain. And for this we can use scrubbers. Scrubbers are use sorbents actually in order to remove sulfur dioxide. So scrubbers, what they use, scrubber use sorbent. What are sorbent? Sorbent is any substance that has a property to collect the molecules of another particles by sorption. Sorption means, if this is a, sorry, okay, I'm writing. So if this is a scrubber, it has many sorbents. Okay, it has many sorbents, and that sorbents is used to absorb or adsorb the particle. So either it will adsorbed. Adsorbed means to settle the particle on its surface. This is called adsorbed. ADSORB. And another one is called absorption or absorb, means the particles will enter to the scrubbers. This is called absorption, but absorb. So either adsorption or by absorption they will collect the oxides of sulfur from these industrial chimneys. Scrubbers are of two types, dry scrubber and wet scrubber. There are two types of scrubber. Dry scrubber, which will use dry heat energy to remove away those particles which are adsorbed onto their surface or absorbed inside their surface. And wet scrubber means with the help of water we will wash away. Next, you know this name after coronavirus, HEPA filters. HEPA means high efficiency particulate air filters. These filters actually allows small particles to flow. It prevents the entry of germs to pass through it. Okay, germs, only germs, not virus actually, but it will minimize the effect of entry of virus are very small in size. Okay, they cannot be stopped with HEPA filters. So HEPA filters are a category of air filters which employ fiberglass filter mats to mechanically remove the airborne particulates such as pollen, smoke, dust and biocontaminants. So normally HEPA filters are employed with a fiberglass filter. So suppose there is a fiberglass filter and inside there is a HEPA filter. Now when air is passing through that fiber filter, because there is inside there is HEPA filter, it will prevent the entry of small particulate matter whose diameter is less than 10 micrometer, like pollens, like smoke, like dust, then some contaminants. Biocontaminants means it may be germs, right? Typically fiberglass filter mats have fiber ranging between 0.5 micrometer to 0.2 micrometer. That means up to this level they can only allow to prevent. Lower than that, that means if it is becoming 0.15, they can easily pass through it, or if it is 0.09, then also they can pass through that filter. So the range of fiberglass filter which contain the HEPA filter, it will prevent the entry of the size of 0.5 to 0.2. So more than 0.5 or 0.2 micrometer particulate matter cannot allow to pass. Then another way is there which is called cyclone dust collectors. These are similar to the air filters and can able to separate dry particulate matter from the gaseous emissions. So the dry particulate matter can be emitted, can be removed from the gaseous emissions by cyclone dust collectors. Well, You can make a simple dust collector in your apartment, in your home, by just standing a pole, and in that pole you have to make some arrangement like a bowl where you can collect the dust actually. And by placing the bowel, then after a period of 24 hours you can see that what particulate matter has been entered. Then by measuring its dry weight with the help of weighting machine, we can able to estimate that the average particulate matter released in your surroundings, right? So this was all about the air pollution, and all other things are also there to control air pollution, like you know, so the government have made legislations, laws to control air pollution. Then other things has to be, you can mention them, more points are there. I am just mentioned the important ones. Just go through these notes. In the next video class I will try to discuss about the water pollution and the act related with the water pollution. Okay.